In this interview, I talked to Morten Storgaard, and he has been doing internet marketing for like over a decade. And we talk about one of his biggest sites, GoDownsize, and talk about the origin of that site, kind of where it's at now and where it's going to be going in the future. Very interesting story overall. And the super cool part is Morten has launched a new site and it's making a little money, not a ton, but he's built a content team. They've published something like 180 or so articles, which is very impressive. The site is less than a year old and we go deep into the details. Morten's a very smart dude. He is launching his YouTube channel. He's been putting a lot of time into it. So you should definitely check out his channel, subscribe. I'll put a link to at least a couple videos that I personally enjoy from Morten, and you should check him out as well. So without further ado, let's hear from Morten Storgaard. Hey, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here, and I'm with my new friend, Morten Storgaard. How are you doing today?
Hi, Doc. Fine. I'm good. How are you?
Doing really well. It's a bright sunny day here in Colorado, so there's a lot of those, but it feels a little warm and I dig it. So, and for the people that don't know you at all, Morten, can you give us a little intro? Who are you? What do you work on now? And where are you located?
Yeah, sure. I'm in Denmark, so it's 8 p.m. here. So I got some lights going on here just so you can see my face. Yeah, so I've been doing online stuff for quite a while. I started an e-commerce site in 2008, and I stopped doing that in 2011. And did a few other e-commerce projects along the way, but I started doing SEO with my own little agency for 7 years. Did link building, technical SEO, and it just made a lot of sense to sometimes link to my own stuff when I got some good opportunities. So I started building out a portfolio of sites like around 2012, I think. So gradually I switched out all the clients to now do 100% my own stuff, just my own niche sites or authority sites or whatever people want to call these sites. Yeah.
Cool. And how many sites do you have these days?
I just sold a whole bunch, but they were more like supporting sites. So I would say, or maybe I should say, I'm actively building like 4 or 5 sites right now that are bigger sites. And then I have maybe 3 or 4 more passive sites that are smaller.
Okay, very good. And the height, like how many sites did you have in your portfolio?
Yeah, so at one point, since I've been doing SEO for quite a while, I had my own sort of PBN kind of thing, but it was pretty small. But it was maybe around 20 or 25 sites that I also use for my clients and also to exchange links and so on. So yeah, so right now I think I'm sitting on maybe 15, 20 sites, and I sold 2 big ones and just a lot of smaller ones. So that was basically more to start focusing on bigger websites.
Okay. And as far as, and I just want to like re-emphasize, so you started kind of doing some of this stuff in what year?
I would say I just looked up some analytics numbers just to see when I actually built my first site. And I'd say I started getting serious with my own niche sites around 2012.
Okay. Cool. So you've seen some ups and downs and I guess some big penalties. We used to do things differently, and that's before my time, really. So
yeah, I also had some clients that I needed to clean up a bit. So yeah.
Cool. And like, do you remember how you first like got into like niche sites of any variety?
Yeah, totally. I had a good friend working, maybe another company at Trustpilot. It's one of the bigger Danish companies. They're doing reviews for e-commerce sites. So it's a good friend of mine who started it. And so I know some people in there. And so somebody in there, or my friend in there was sitting next to this dude who was doing like an affiliate site. And he told me, oh, this dude is doing like 3 or 4K a month. So it just sounded super cool. And then I looked up the site and I thought, well, I could totally do this better, you know. It was a very old site. So I started immediately building something similar. And that was actually one of my first successes. So that's how I got into it. And then I also stumbled over Pat Flynn way back in the Smart Passive Income blog when he started popping up everywhere.
Okay, cool. And did you follow his blog or the podcast first?
I think I quickly went on to the podcast. Yeah, also because there was something I can do on my bike and, you know, everywhere in the car and so on. So I typically just loaded up a whole bunch of stuff on my phone and then I could go listen to it.
Cool. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I got my start like listening to the podcast and then found the way to the blog. And I think I probably spent more time on the podcast. Like you said, you can do other things at the same time. So
Yeah.
as I was working, my corporate job or commuting or whatever,
Yeah.
running, I would like listen to internet marketing
Yeah.
strategies. Very cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know you have like sort of a bigger site and there's even a YouTube channel associated with it. So can you tell us a little about GoDownsize?
Yeah, so GoDownsize is like one of definitely our biggest sites. I run it together with my wife. I have a wife and a kid, a 3-year-old. And so my wife got the idea about it because she was studying architecture and she was designing the interior on a boat. And of course, that's a small, cramped space where you need a lot of functions there. So she got interested in the whole tiny house movement and how to build super tiny spaces very early on, maybe 2012 or 11 or something like that. So she was very interested in that, and she started a YouTube channel, and then it quickly caught on and quickly got the first 10, 20, 30,000 subscribers. And then I thought, maybe I should build a site around this. So I just started building the blog alongside, and I could send some traffic, to the blog. So yeah, so that's still our main site, and also one of the sites that I'm actively building a lot of content for with my team of writers.
Cool. So can you give us a little like info on the traffic and like the growth trajectory and like just a little bit more details?
I think until November last year, so something like 14 months ago, I wrote everything myself. And then some of these articles were super, super old. So I reached a point in December 13 months ago where I just deleted a whole bunch of content because it was just crap and it was super short content. I could see in analytics it maybe got like 5 or 10 visits per day. So per month, I think. So I started hiring some writers, and that was the first time I outsourced content. So that's where I really started to go hard on it. And at that time, I made some major mistakes. I updated a ton of links and it got de-indexed, and I just did some stuff. And the thing was that I was primarily working on client stuff at the time, so I did a lot of changes and did a look at it. Then after a couple of months, it was sort of out of the search results for a little while. So then I figured I should probably give it some good attention. And so long story short, today I just looked up the numbers. It's a little over 200,000 page views per month, and it's primarily at monetized with ads and also a bit of affiliate.
Okay. And in the beginning, it was mostly like your wife was interested in the tiny house movement and downsizing in general.
Yeah, and then we just started writing about furniture and everything related to smaller spaces and see whatever deals we could get and stuff like that.
And is she sort of the YouTube expert and you're the content blog expert?
Yeah, she's definitely the face and the brain behind the YouTube channel. Yeah,
cool.
I also pop up from once in a while, but I'm not the main actor.
Okay, gotcha. And I guess from that standpoint, can you tell us about how you selected like the topics to write on, and then maybe how your wife was choosing YouTube video topics as well?
Yeah, so for the YouTube channel, I think she didn't give much thought to anything such as keyword research and stuff like that. I think she stumbled upon a few pretty cool tiny houses that we did some home tours on. So we would go in and do like a 30-minute, very long video for us at the time, and of course those did very well because people tend to binge these home tours. People like to see how you pop out things off the wall, and it's very visual. And so one of those videos popped to 100,000 page views, and views on YouTube, and it was like, wow, this could be taken somewhere, And so we went to the States at a tiny house fair, a tiny house festival, and just filmed like 20 tiny houses, just went door to door, before they opened, and asked everybody if we could film everything there. So we did that a couple of times. So we would have like content to space out over a couple of months. And then it just really started to take off from there.
Holy cow. That's amazing. So you went to basically a conference, or what did you call it? It's like a festival or something?
Yeah, I think they call it a tiny house festival. It was somewhere in Florida, north of. Yeah.
So there was just like a concentration of like awesome
Yeah.
content, and you just
Yeah.
walk through with a camera.
Actually, we were in the area visiting some friends, and then we just, I think, accidentally, we just saw this festival. It's like 2 hours drive north, and then we just went there, and we could immediately see this was just Mecca for us. We just had to turn on the camera and get there super early and leave super late for the last couple of days, and yeah, so we just burned ourselves out completely over 48 hours and shot everything we could.
Okay, and I may have to. I'll have to get you to introduce me to your wife. Maybe I need to talk to her too. But
Sure, absolutely.
like the video and editing and creating video that's interesting to people, it's really hard to do, and to keep them, captured. So like, how long had your wife been doing videos at the point where you went to that festival?
Maybe a year, something like that, I think. We have traveled a lot also because we both work online. So everywhere we go, we do always try to find a few tiny spaces, apartments, or tiny houses, anything we can film, also to sort of, do the travel on the company bills. Yeah. So we did that a couple of times, and we had an idea that this would be great. So as soon as we saw the festival, we just, had to go there.
Okay, cool. Because like I said, I know just the skill to, create the videos, to film it, to do all the stuff, both from like a technical standpoint and for the actual content to be interesting.
Yeah.
And, just get it done. It's very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You guys had at least a couple years probably of just like filming, doing videos, doing editing and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And we had some friends show us how to get like a good camera and also get like a wide angle lens, because when you're filming inside a super tiny space, it's very hard not to be up front in everything. You need that bigger angle. So getting these things right and get a good boom mic because sometimes we would shoot outside and to get to the house and talk outside, and it'd just be, sound like a stormy weather. And yes, but I think she's very skilled in that department, and she's doing a good job there, I think. But
Awesome.
she's using an external editor, but actually she hasn't been uploading any videos for almost a year because we have a toddler now, and it is just a different game. So she's mainly focusing on him, and I'm running the business side of things right now.
Very cool. So from just your observations now, I know it was probably different as you were going through it, but from like the strategy on the blog and YouTube, do you have any like interesting observations where maybe a particular blog post did super well and then the video didn't do as good, or just anything weird like that?
I think if I had to do it all over, I would definitely marry the two closer together. It's almost like it's two separate things. There are not too much traffic going from the YouTube channel to the website, which is a big mistake because we obviously make much more money when we get them to the website. So if I knew then what I know now, I would definitely create more hooks, maybe do a PDF, do something to take people to the website, at least sometimes.
Yeah. Cool.
So one thing I did after a year, I started to do like a pretty big watermark in the corner, just putting GoDownsize.com, just so everybody who was interested would go there. And that just started a big spike of branded searches in Google. I could see in Google Search Console that a lot of people started to just Google what is GoDownsize and GoDownsize in different kind of ways. So I'm sure that showed Google that we were some sort of brand, and maybe I'm sure they made the connection because we had the link between the two.
Okay.
But I think that was the only thing we did right.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, from my small understanding of YouTube, like you don't want to always send people away from YouTube. YouTube wants people on the platform. They want them to binge videos. So you have to, it's a delicate balance of like getting people to your site. And when you're growing, if you want that like unrestrained growth and your videos to be suggested and recommended all over the place, like if you're hooking people in and then you keep them on the platform, they love it. So
yeah, definitely. That's definitely a balance. Yeah.
Were there any like surprises as far as like, hey, this was like actually kind of easier to do than we expected? We thought this was going to be tough to do blog content or something.
Yeah. So I think that the outsourcing part was way easier than I thought. After writing hundreds of articles yourself, it's like you think nobody can write as well as you can, but certainly that's definitely not true. And I just wish I started doing that much earlier. So that was a big eye opener. And from the YouTube perspective of things, I was just very surprised by seeing which videos would take off. Sometimes we did. I remember we filmed a school bus, like people was redecorating a school bus and turning it into like a hostel on wheels. And then that totally took off and got like 1 million views in a year or something like that. I think it's sitting at 2.5 right now. So I figured, okay, so that's the formula. And then we went to film 3 or 4 other buses that were way cooler, and they did horrible. It was around the same length. I would say it was even better content. So it's like, oh, okay, all right. Thank you, YouTube.
No kidding. And do you have any theories like what the trigger is?
No, not really. I mean, maybe the guys in the first video was just super likable, and the numbers was definitely better. But from my perspective, the other videos was at least as good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was one thing that totally came into play was that there was more and more competitors. So you can say other people doing the same stuff. So I think in the beginning it was not that we had it for ourselves, but I mean, if you started looking on YouTube for tiny houses, tiny spaces, tiny apartments, stuff like that, we would definitely show up like most of the times. Now it's totally flooded, and already back then I think that might have come into play.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Just being an early, I don't know what you call it, you're first to market basically, or early to market, gives you a big leg up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was way before all the major TV stations was doing like Tiny House Nations, and now it's all over the media and everywhere. Yep. Back then it was totally niche.
Okay, cool. So let's go back to the content stuff, because I know there's probably viewers and listeners out there that are like, oh man, like you deleted a bunch of content, you got de-indexed. So can you tell us that story? Like what happened? Like how much content did you have? How much did you delete? How long was it de-indexed? Like what was going on?
Yeah. So at the time I had around 100 articles on the site, and it was doing around, I think, 30 to 40,000 page views per month. And then I just decided to delete half of it because it was so bad. And I figured, well, it's not doing anything for my site, or at least, if you think about link flow and all these things, maybe there would be more authority to the other articles. So that was kind of my take on it. And I saw a lot of theories, some was saying do it, somebody said don't do it, So I decided to do it. And then immediately I started to throw in a ton of content. So I probably doubled that content over a couple of months. So it's hard to say exactly what made everything turn much faster, because I did a lot of things at the same time. But the whole de-index thing, it was just a horrible mistake on my part, and luckily it got fixed pretty quickly. So the thing I did was that I use a plugin called Pretty Links for all my affiliate links. So so you do these pretty URLs, and then I inserted this little word in the beginning of the slug for every affiliate link to be able to go into Google Analytics and take a good view of all these links. So I could sort of distinguish my affiliate links from all the other ones and see how many people would click those links and so on. And as I did that, I just forgot to update the actual links on the site. It was just totally stupid.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was that all my affiliate links got broken. I just had like a ton of links pointing to like 404.
Okay.
But it was not like my entire site was out. It was just the internal links that got totally screwed up.
Gotcha. Okay. How long did it take you to figure it out?
Yeah, I think I figured it out after a month.
Okay.
Well, I typically looked at my numbers one time per month at the time, so I was confused about why my affiliate sales just totally dropped.
Gotcha.
Then I went in and tried to click a link, and no, actually it was one of my affiliates, one of the stores that I had a good deal with. He told me that all of a sudden he was getting no links, so he thought maybe I skipped his program. So I went in and looked there, and actually he figured it out for me. So it was kind of embarrassing.
Oh man, that's a bummer. So okay,
Totally.
clarification. So this whole site wasn't like de-indexed in
No,
Search
no,
Console. It was
no.
just all affiliate links were broken, so all
Yeah,
revenue went down.
yeah, yeah. And I didn't have any ads at the time, so you can imagine it just went to zero.
Gotcha. Okay. And the other, for people that don't know, the Pretty Link plugin, I use it too, and basically it allows you to just change the URL slug and have a redirect. Like it's an easy way to manage your redirects in a nice plugin format versus like hard coding it in, say, your htaccess file for the technical nerds out there. You don't
Exactly.
have to have it, but you get some tracking capabilities, and it's a little bit more sophisticated. It's called Pretty Links. So
Yeah, and I also like the way if you have one affiliate link, all over the website, you can just update it one place, and then all these places will update. So sort of have this hub where you update your links. I like that, so I don't have to go over hundreds and hundreds of articles.
oh yeah, totally. Yep. So it's a good plugin as long as you use it right. So
Yeah.
all right, cool. Any other cool things that you want to mention about GoDownsize or the YouTube channel or anything like that?
Not really. Other than I think I got lucky with the domain name. Not that it's anything genius, but I'm glad that I didn't call it like, tinyhousegeek.com or something like that. So it was pretty broad from the get-go, which I enjoy now because we're also writing about living on a boat and living in RVs. So we're taking the website in many directions, and that's something I'm doing with all my newer sites. I try to choose a very broad domain name just so I don't get cornered in one tiny part of a niche. So yeah, so that enabled us to go all over the place, because now it's many years old and it got links all over the place from huge sites and news sites and so on. So it's just nice to be able to continue building it and not run out of keywords.
Awesome. Yeah, that is insightful. I think I was just chatting with someone earlier today about that exact thing where, don't put a keyword in your domain name because unless it's extremely broad, it's just painting you in a corner. So
yeah, cool. I agree.
Now, you've launched a new site. You've done a lot of work on it, and I want to get to that in a second. I'm going to just tease the audience just for a minute. But you talked about a lot of travel. Can you just explain like the travel that you and your family have done and just like how it's been?
Yeah, sure. So we've been married for 13 years, so we've been together for a long time, and our only kid is 3 years old. So for 10 years we were together doing stuff mostly online. So we've been traveling in Asia, Africa, and the States and Europe and in many places. So we typically go for 1 to 2 or 3 months at a time, and we've been trying different styles. We've been RVing a lot in Europe. And when we go further away, I mean, in Asia and Thailand, we typically just rented something nice because it's much cheaper. And in the States, we have some friends we could stay with. So we tried many different things, and I think it's just a great way to, or it's definitely one of the freedom or the perks that comes with this way of earning money that I absolutely love. And my wife also has like a YouTube travel channel, and she traveled a lot before we met also, and she really wanted to travel. So I would say it's mostly her who's the primary driver to getting us on the road all the time. And I love that, because if I didn't have her, I would probably just be in my cave, just blocking all day, or doing stuff on my own.
Yeah. What kind of challenges did you run into traveling, especially like in an RV, right? With connectivity, knowing that, potentially at the time, maybe you had some clients or obviously your own work that you need to do.
Yeah, I started telling all my SEO clients that I would not be working from their office space like any time. And I also, I always told them this at the very first meeting before we did any sort of agreement on anything, just so they knew. And then I told them that I would love to do like a monthly reporting, and we could definitely do that on Skype, but only if they needed it. So over time, I think one thing that went really well was that I had fewer and fewer and bigger clients. So in the beginning, it was maybe 15 clients, and in the end, it was just like a handful of bigger clients that I had worked with and doing link building for years. So there was a lot of trust. I would basically just send them a list of links that I had acquired over the last month. So that got easier and easier as we started traveling. So, and I think, yeah, connectivity issues definitely in Africa and also in many places, all over the place. But I was surprised to have super fast internet in Thailand. It was just a fantastic place to work. As probably I know there's a ton of marketers there.
Yeah. I hear good things. Yeah. You've traveled like all over. How many countries have you guys been to?
Yeah, I think the last time I counted it was around 30, something like that. But it's easy to tick up a lot of countries because I mean, just if I drive 2 hours in each direction, Denmark, I'm in Norway, Sweden, Germany, Holland, it's easy to count a lot of countries here in Europe. So.
Yeah. I think when we were doing like the pre-interview, I was telling you I drove from Colorado to Alaska, which is like 6,000 miles, one way. And basically, I was in two countries.
Exactly.
The whole time. 6,000.
So you should count the states, I think.
Yeah. And I am, a self-centered American. So did you have any favorite places in the US that you traveled to?
Well, I have mostly been in California and Florida so far. So, and also a bit in Chicago. I've actually been to your area also. I was in Denver. I don't know how far that is, but I was up in the Rocky Mountains at one. But that was a long time ago. But I absolutely love Florida and Chicago. No, sorry, and California. But I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say those are very like sort of diverse states in general. If you're in sort of northern, like the panhandle of Florida, totally different than like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, the Keys. It may as well be like, 3 different states, and then same deal with California too. So great places. Nice weather compared to
definitely. And that's also because we're in Denmark, we're so far up north, we're close to Norway, and so we have, I typically say we have like 10 months of winter and in the winter the sun is hardly getting up. It's maybe only sunlight here 6, 7, 8 hours and something like that, and it's just like the sun is just hitting the horizon and going down again. So we try to always go to somewhere warm like Thailand or Africa or Florida, California during the winter months just to get some warm weather.
Cool. So let's shift back to internet marketing and tell me about this new site that you've launched. It sounds like it's been around for maybe like 8-9 months, something like that.
Yeah. I think it's 7 to 8 months old now, and so I try to start new websites pretty regularly. I also started one since then, but this is like a bigger project. It's a huge niche. So it's 7 months old, and should I just throw some numbers? Yeah. So over the last 30 days, it's sitting around 13,000 page views, and it's 90%. Organic traffic from Google and a bit of Pinterest, and it's only monetized so far with the Ezoic ads, and it's doing pretty well with an earning per 1,000 page views around $20, or with the Ezoic it's earning per 1,000 visitors, so it's probably a little lower if you look at it from the 1,000 page views. Maybe it's around 17 or something like that, and I outsource the content 100% for this site. And I have a pretty big team of writers now. I have 10 or 11 writers now. And I posted the first article in July 2019, and I quickly posted 20 articles just to get everything rolling on something super, super long tail, something that I would definitely rank for just to get things going. And right now it's around 180 articles on the site.
Okay. And as far as your content team, a lot of people like to geek out on that, and they imagine, hey, it sure would be great if I could just give my team a bunch of keywords. So how do you have it set up? Where did you find these writers?
Yeah, so all the writers I have right now are hired on Upwork. And then I went through a lot of hassle to sort of get them out of Upwork because I hate the platform. I mean, all the hoops and loops you have to jump with the feedback and all that. It's just way too much logistics for me. So I quit the Upwork platform, and now I work directly with everybody. So I managed to get most of them out. And so it's my own team of writers, you can say, and some are writing as little as one article a week, and I also hired my first full-time writer, and that's definitely something I'm looking more into right now. I'm looking into hire someone more, another person like full-time.
Do you have a manager type, or do you work directly with each of the individuals?
Yeah, so 2 months ago, I upgraded, you can say, or I took the best writer I had and one that I thought could do this well. So I asked her if she wanted to become the editor. And before that, I edited all the articles, and it was getting to consume 50% of my time, and it was just impossible because, it's a lot of content. I think I posted something like 500 or 600 articles last year, and they are all very long, like starting from 1,500 words and longer. So it took a long time just to find the pictures. So I asked one of my writers that I had the best chemistry with if she was interested, and she was just exploding like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And so I matched her salary and got her on full time, and that's the best thing I ever did, I think, from a project management perspective. I'm very happy I did that. So today she managed all the other writers. I rarely talk to them. I mean, they send me the invoice. That's the only communication I have with the writers. So she's updating them whenever there's something they need to know. Sometimes I'll shoot a little video if there's something I want them to do differently, or if there's some errors, I'll tell her, and then she'll communicate it out I use Slack for that. So I can see what they're communicating about, but she's handling everything for me now, and that's awesome.
Perfect. That echoes exactly my thoughts on like a content manager editor type, because it's really easy to just burn so much time, and you get into it and they can probably do it faster. They could probably do it faster than you. So,
and also I'm not native American either, or native English for that matter. So English is my second language. So there's a lot of things I wouldn't catch, and she's much better. I mean, she went through university and also worked as a tutor and helping people getting the writing in place. So yeah, she's definitely better than I am and faster and everything.
For the editor, how do you structure her payment? Is it like an hourly or is it salary now?
Yeah, so she still writes a lot. So the first thing she does every day is to see if there's anything she can edit and publish. So she will find pictures and do the formatting if there's anything. So she will do everything. I don't only have this one person to take like the post and put it online, and also do internal links. So she'll do that. And so for the editing part, I'm actually paying her more than I am for the writing part, which I think is probably opposite of what most people are doing. At least that's what I found out afterwards. I was just doing what made sense for me. I thought, well, it takes more skill to take a text and make it even better. So I pay her an hourly fee for the editing part, and for that I pay her 30% more than when she's writing. But yeah, I figured out afterward that I could probably get cheaper editors. But I think to me it makes sense to have someone with high skills and who's really on it, and she's really good. So I don't regret that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And actually we did everything like exactly the same way. I usually hire a set of writers, find the good ones, promote them because they're bored from writing, and then they're happy to do it. And usually, right, because they're at a manager role, right? So they're not just editing, they're doing more. So you should definitely pay them more. That totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. And I'm also glad that she's not just editing or just writing, because I've tried both. For another website I was trying to write full time, something like 40 hours per week, and just typing. My hands got so sore. I started voice typing on my Mac, just because I couldn't really type anymore. So that was a really, really good experience for me to figure out how much can you actually write and how much output can you produce, because I think I'm typing fast, and I talked with her about it before I promoted her to go full time, because I wanted her to not burn out, and I really wanted her to be comfortable in this position. And so I think this mix between writing and editing, and she's also doing other stuff for me. That's maybe 10-15% of like VA stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the writers, how much are you paying them? How is it structured?
Yeah. So I'm definitely at the low end. I paid around 2 cents per word. And I'm also testing writers from all over the world. I have writers in South Africa and one in Nigeria. I've been testing out Kenya, but the most of my writers are from the States. And I always try to find writers who are, as you can say, like beginners. So they don't have like a long history of writing, and so that enables me to get a better price. But it also means that I have to sort through hundreds of writers. I think I tested out maybe 100 or 120 writers to get my team of 10 writers. And there was the people that I actually gave like a test article. So before that, it was also a big selection.
Okay, gotcha. And then you let me know ahead of time you've spent about $9,000 on the content overall for the 180 articles.
Yeah, for this new website, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. And it sounds like it's mostly like informational content at this point. Can you talk about the content strategy and the keyword strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first, like I said, the first batch of like 20 articles, I tried to get them as fast up there as possible, just to sort of get something going. And that was extremely long tail content, and most of my articles are. And so everything is informational. I haven't gotten to anything that I think I can monetize with affiliate just yet, because this is a huge project for me, and I just want to get the traffic going. And then maybe in a couple of years, maybe even I will start doing that, because I'm so sure now of the business model, and I know what to expect and what will happen. So I'm just trying to build like a big website now, so it will start getting those nice links also organically. Yeah, then that's something we can get back to with the backlinking stuff. But for the content, it's definitely informational content and content that should be fairly easy to rank for.
Okay. And then is there any reason why you can't add like affiliate product review type content on the early end, or?
No, I could definitely do that, but I just haven't trained any of my writers to do that yet.
Gotcha.
Yes, so I just need to lay out the templates for them to do so. But that's definitely something I should do, and it's also on my to-do list for 2022 to get much more into that.
Okay. And then do you have like end goal in mind for like how much content you want to eventually have? Because you were like, hey, maybe in a couple years, then we do something else. So you're thinking very long term, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking very long term, and I'm also thinking like my newest strategy is to build out like 4 or 5 like big websites. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of page views on each site. So my long-term strategy is I would love to every year sell a big site and then start a new one. So I'm still building up to that, because I don't have 5 big sites right now. I probably have like 2 bigger sites right now. But for this site, I mean, the topic is super, super, super broad. So I could definitely get many thousands articles. I don't think I could ever like dry out this this site or finish it.
Okay. Awesome. That's pretty amazing. I mean, there's like no upper limit. There's always more keywords and more interest coming for this area.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's shift into link building. It sounds like you have a ton of experience from your previous gigs, other websites, clients, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you approach it these days?
Yeah, so I would say yes and no. I have experience because my link building clients were all from Denmark, where I'm located. So I definitely have a ton of connections here in Denmark for local link building, but not so much when we're looking outside Denmark, because all my clients were in Denmark. So there was also a hurdle to get over when I started to doing something in English, because I couldn't rely on my network of friends and people that I knew. So I haven't done too much at this point. I've just been doing like a bit of Hero, help a reporter out, just trying to be as helpful as possible in there and to acquire some links there. And then organically, it has been picking up 6 to 7 forum links so far. And then, and I know this is not really link building, but I build a Pinterest profile, so that sends some traffic and of course some no follow links, and I also created like a LinkedIn page and a YouTube channel that actually got banned like after a week because I didn't want to put my face up there. So I was using this software to auto generate videos. It was called Lumen 5 or something like that. So it basically just grabs some text and auto generate videos. So I had 2 channels like banned after a week. So I'm not doing YouTube for this site. but I'm trying to do some social stuff around it, also just to show YouTube some initial activity and to show that this is an actual site and not just like a thin site. Yeah.
For Haro, then, like you said, it's help a reporter out. Can you explain a little bit like what it is for the people that don't know, and then how's it been going?
Yeah, so I think like the platform is super old. At least that's what it looks like. It's pretty new to me. But so the thing is, you get an email every day with a ton of, it's just like a list of 30, 40, or 50 topics that some reporter or some writer wants help with on the content side of things. Maybe they want a quote, maybe they want an expert on something. And then I'll just scan through the list and see, is there anywhere here where I can like chime in and be an expert on something in regards to my niche? Well, I would have some merit to do so. And then I'll just shoot them an email with giving them exactly what they ask for. You know, maybe they want like, maybe they typically they do like roundup on something like what's your favorite podcast, or what's your favorite book, stuff like that. And those types of articles are typically pretty easy to get on with a backlink, and some of the heavier stuff takes way more time. But yeah, I'd love to hire someone to do this for me, because I think it's very time consuming, and I tend to never really get to it on my to-do list.
Right. How many links have you landed with it?
I think around 25 or 30, so definitely not a lot. So I've mostly been relying on the super long tail keywords, so that I would rank for without backlinks. And then I also wanted to see if I would organically start to pick up some links, and it has gotten like at least a handful of forum backlinks so far, but it's something I want to start to do now. I just didn't want to start creating backlinks too early on, because I have had some bad experiences with that in the past, where I started link building probably too early. So I know the site is 7 months old, and I could definitely have started like several months ago, but I didn't want to start too early on and starting to get a ton of links and then stop link building, and it would just look super unnatural.
Sure.
And I would say I'm also doing less and less link building and focusing more and more on content that I can rank without links. And then eventually the traffic will get there. And sometimes I pick up some amazing links from a website without really doing any outreach.
And quick clarification. So you have like 25 or 30 links total to the site.
Yeah.
So how many links have you gotten from Haro specifically?
Yeah, I think only a few, only like 2 or 3. Okay. So those are like the better, definitely at the higher end of the quality.
Sure.
And cool. then it naturally got those other links. Yeah.
All right. And I was just asking because I've heard for years, like, hey, you could sign up for this, but basically everyone that I've ever talked to is like, it takes forever. It's pretty hard to do. I spent all this time writing response back, and unless you have like really good credentials, it's kind of difficult for them to like actually publish your
I'd say for some of my other websites though, I had more success. And the thing is, when I do this Haro stuff, I do it across like all my 5 sites. So for some of the other sites, I had more luck. And I think this is also because, I mean, if you Google, I built like a pen name for this website. And if you Google this person, the person doesn't really exist. And there's not a lot of credential around it. So whenever I go into Haro, or Haro is how is it, for GoDownsize, they can see it's me. They can see I've been featured many places. We have an actual YouTube channel. There's just a lot more like social proof and authority around us as a couple also. And so that it's much easier for me to do it from the GoDownsize website.
Okay, perfect. And I just wanted to emphasize that, because I think, if you want a video idea, Morten, like that's one to show people how to use Haro. I've thought about it in the past, but I've had zero. I've never even signed up, just because it sounds like I would hate it. But if you do a video on that, I bet it would crush.
Yeah, thanks. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Especially since you actually have like examples that you could show for GoDownsize, like that will be awesome.
Yeah, and the thing is, I even built some templates. I don't know if you want to get into this, but inside Gmail, you can add this little extension that let you save some templates, because 80% of the response is almost the same every time. They want like a little piece of content about who are you, a picture of you, and a link to your website. And then you want to have like a specific, or at least I want to have a specific signature there with everything I can put in there to sort of tell them that I am who I am and stuff like that. And then I just need to add that little 2, 3, 4 line quote that they want at the top. That definitely speeds up things.
Cool. Yeah, it's like canned responses or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
cool.
what it's called.
Very good. So let's see. Anything else on the new site that maybe you thought it was going to be pretty easy, but it's actually been much harder?
Actually, I would say the traffic came much sooner than I expected. I definitely didn't expect it to hit around 13,000 page views so soon. So I'm really, really happy for this one, and it's also the fastest website I ever started. It's the fastest traffic growth I've seen, and so the thing is, I'm using Ezoic, and I knew from all my other sites, from the analytics inside Ezoic, that this was a pretty good niche in terms of the earnings. So yeah, so that's something I dug a lot into before I started this website, and that's one of the benefits of having like multiple sites. Right now I have 4 websites running Ezoic ads, and I just recently sold 2 other sites. So when you go into the analytics inside Ezoic, you can see the content across all your sites, and I could just sort them by earnings per 1,000 page views and start to see some trends there for my own content across everything I ever posted. That was something I found super helpful, and yeah.
Cool. And you're doing a little Pinterest work too. So
yeah,
how's that going?
Yeah, I actually hired somebody to do it because I hate Pinterest. But I mean, we have a pretty good Pinterest account for GoDownsize that I did for quite some time, just because it was funny, because it was so visual, with small spaces and furniture and stuff that folds out and tiny spaces. So, but for this niche, it's definitely not like a typical Pinterest niche. I just did it because I know that you can get a lot of traffic early on. So I wanted to get some traffic to the website fast, also to show Google that I was doing something seriously about this website. So I hired somebody to do it, and actually I can't tell if she did a good or a bad job about it, but it sends the website maybe 50 or 60 visitors per day. No, sorry, not per day. How much would that be? Around 5% of the 13,000. Yeah, so just like a tiny bit of traffic there. So
okay, just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit. And she just did it for 3 months, and then I just let it sit there.
Okay. And then when she stopped pinning more stuff and doing activities, did it remain constant, or did it drop a little?
It dropped. So I think it went up, and then, but not to anything significant. And then it definitely dropped to maybe it cut in half a couple of times, and then it just, it's pretty stable right now. It just gets some traffic once in a while. Cool. All the time. Yeah.
We'll start wrapping up here, and just a couple sort of quick questions. So any purchases like in the last year that you were like, man, this is really good, I'm glad I bought this thing, it's been very helpful?
That's a good question. Definitely this mic. Other than that, I would say some good lighting also for our little home studio here. I have some lighting over here. You can see my hand is totally lit. Also because it's nighttime here, and when I'm doing stuff like this, it's typically at nighttime here, because all my sites are for an American audience. So I need to not be sitting in a dark room when we do stuff like this.
Yep, indeed. Yeah, it looks good, sounds good. You got a nice setup over there.
Thanks. So that's something I've been trying to ramp up on, also because that I'm going pretty serious on YouTube myself now with my own YouTube channel. So I've been very happy to get some better stuff there, or I should probably say to borrow lights from my wife and get my own mic.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, it does look good and it sounds good. So as far as mistakes, and you have a long career like online, so are there any like grand mistakes where you're like, oh man, this is a good story?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, and let's see if I can I can think of any of those. Well, there's definitely the one we talked about by screwing up all my affiliate links on one site. Well, it's not a mistake, but I wish that I branched out from Amazon affiliate sooner, just to get into like Commission Junction and Share Sale and just better programs, and also to diversify that. But no, that's not a mistake. That's just spreading your risk a bit.
Well, that's okay if you think of it later. I'm sure,
Yeah.
I mean, most SEOs have some sort of big penalty, some kind of screw up that you had in the past.
Yeah, I never had a site penalized or de-indexed or a client of mine, luckily. So
Wow, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I think I've always been going in, what can you say, not I've been building a ton of links, but I've also been super careful because some of these websites were pretty big clients, so I definitely didn't want to screw it up. And maybe that's also why I didn't screw up, because there was such a heavy profile already, and it was so many of the things that I got to do was also on the more technical side of things, just cleaning up things. So maybe they would acquire a competitor, and we needed to rank those sites beside each other, search results and stuff like that. But I've been fortunate enough to not have anything totally penalized.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Thanks.
Okay.
But I should have, because way back I just built like a ton of these Web 2.0s with super tiny articles with the exact match anchors. But somehow we managed to get rid of it all before it all rambled, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be software that like would help you create those. I mean, you could really get a lot of those kind of bad links built fast, easy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, do you have any tips for people that are just getting started?
Yeah, I used to say to people to pick something, to pick a topic where the money is good, and where this perfect price range and stuff like that. And today I tend more to really tell people to go where the passion is, because I think today you can, I at least for my part, I find it easier today to earn money with websites on a wide variety of topics. Since I can monetize with ads now, it's just much easier. So ads is still new for me. I switched on ads for the first time a year ago, and like instantly doubled my revenue. And that's also why I decided to quit on the whole SEO agency thing. So I'd say just get started, and just choose something you're passionate about, and start with something super long tail, because you'll probably be amazed like how many people are actually searching for something that's super like weird.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel and a website, and it's the same name. It's called Authority Site Geek. And I might be rebranding that, because I found people cannot spell authority, at least not here in Denmark. But for now, it's called Authority Site Geek, and maybe it will for a while. And that's the YouTube channel and the website. And the website is basically just 2 pages where you can sign up for a course that I'm building up to.
Very good. All right. I'll put links in the show notes and description so people can get to it. And just any sneak peek, like what kind of videos are you publishing out there?
Yeah, so I'm publishing. I'm trying to put up a lot of content about how to build these niche sites. So it's everything from niche selection, and I'm trying to start out with some more basic stuff, like how to find a good niche to write on, and how to find the first 20, 30, 40 articles, and then I'll eventually get into some more nerdy stuff, and also how to find your domain names and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to teach people some of the things I've learned over the last decade of doing SEO.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Morten. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.